Hi, I'm Dyla. All my life, I've been putting out fires, literal ones now that I'm a paramedic. But the emotional ones started way earlier thanks to my parents. My 6-year-old son, Ethan, is the light of my life. That kid's smile could power the whole city, I swear. He's got his dad's curly hair and my stubborn streak, though his father's been out of the picture since before Ethan could walk. My parents, Martha and Gerald, have always been difficult. Growing up, nothing I did was ever good enough. Too fat, too loud, too ambitious, always too something. When I had Ethan young and on my own, they acted like I'd committed some cardinal sin. Yet they still expected Sunday dinners and holiday visits like they deserved Grandfather of the Year awards. Last Tuesday, my boss called during my day off. 3-car pileup on Highway 16. We need all hands. I called everyone I knew, but nobody could watch Ethan last minute. Desperate, I called my parents. Just this once, Mom. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't an emergency. Fine, bring him over. But don't make this a habit, Dila. We're not a daycare service. I dropped Ethan off with his backpack full of snacks, toys, and his favorite stuffed dinosaur. Be good for Grandma and Grandpa, buddy. I'll be back tomorrow evening, promise. Okay, Mommy, love you. The emergency stretched into a 36-hour nightmare shift. When I finally pulled into my parents' driveway Thursday evening, all I wanted was to hug my kid and sleep for days. Ethan didn't come running when I walked in. I found him curled up on the couch, looking pale and quiet. Hey, buddy, ready to go home? He just nodded weakly. When I picked him up, he felt lighter somehow. You okay, Ethan? Did you have fun with Grandma and Grandpa? I'm really hungry, Mommy. Something in his voice made my stomach drop. Didn't Grandma make you dinner? They said I eat too much. Grandma gave me 1 apple yesterday and some crackers today. My blood turned to ice. What about the snacks in your backpack? Grandpa said they were too messy and put them away. I stormed into the kitchen where my parents were having coffee like nothing was wrong. Ethan says you barely fed him for 2 days. What the hell? Mom rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. He had breakfast. 1 meal a day for a growing child? Are you kidding me? Dad waved his hand dismissively. Kid eats like a horse at home. Figured it wouldn't kill him to learn some restraint. He's 6. Mom sipped her coffee. Feeding him constantly is just a waste, Dila. All that food just goes right through him anyway. A waste? My son is a waste to you? Don't twist my words. We're just saying kids these days are overindulged. I grabbed Ethan's backpack, still full of untouched snacks. We're leaving, and don't expect to see him again anytime soon. Don't be so sensitive, Dad called after me. This is why you've always been difficult. I buckled a quiet Ethan into his car seat, hands shaking with rage. I'm sorry, Mommy, he whispered. No, baby. You did nothing wrong. Nothing at all. Driving away, I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I pulled into the McDonald's drive-thru before even hitting the main road. Ethan devoured 2 happy meals like he hadn't seen food in days, because he basically hadn't. That night, he woke up twice, sneaking to the kitchen. I found him hiding Cheerios under his pillow. What are you doing, buddy? Saving food for later, in case there's no breakfast again. My heart shattered. First thing next morning, I called Dr. Reynolds. Emergency appointment? What's happening with Ethan? My parents starved him for 2 days, said feeding him was a waste. 2 hours later, Dr. Reynolds checked Ethan's vitals while I explained everything. Mild dehydration, slight weight loss since his checkup last month. Nothing permanent, but concerning for just 2 days. He made detailed notes in Ethan's file. Has anything like this happened before? Not that I know of, but Grandma says I'm too expensive to feed, Ethan interrupted, playing with his dinosaur. Last Christmas, she gave me 1 cookie and said Santa thinks greedy boys are disgusting. The doctor's face hardened. Dyla, I'm documenting this as suspected neglect. You should consider filing a report. While Ethan played with the nurse, Dr. Reynolds lowered his voice. Children don't make up specific details like that, and food hoarding is a trauma response. That afternoon, I called my Aunt Sarah, my mom's estranged sister. They did what to Ethan? Actually, no, I'm not surprised. Your mother did similar things to you. To me? What are you talking about? You don't remember the diet summers? When you were 5, Martha decided you were too chubby and put you on these extreme diets. One time you passed out at the community pool from low blood sugar. Fragmented memories surfaced. Feeling dizzy, crying from hunger, Dad sneaking me crackers when Mom wasn't looking. I thought that was just normal. It wasn't. It's why I stopped speaking to them. They convinced you it was normal. That's what abusers do. That night, after Ethan fell asleep, I scrolled through old texts from my parents. There it was. Evidence I'd been blind to. Mom, don't bring snacks for Ethan tomorrow. We need to teach him discipline. Dad, that boy eats more than a grown man, not under our roof. And my personal favorite, Mom, if you keep feeding him whenever he asks, he'll be fat and miserable like you were. I screenshot everything, then called Aunt Sarah back. I want to make them pay. Not just legally. I want them to face what they've done. No sweeping this under the rug. No forgiveness. Then we need a plan. Something they can't wriggle out of. Something public. Sarah, they've been hiding who they really are for decades. It's time everyone sees the truth. The family reunion is next month. Everyone will be there. Perfect. I'm done protecting their reputation. They starved my child and called him a waste. There's no coming back from that. I stayed up all night, researching child protection laws and family court precedents. By morning, I had the beginnings of a plan that would make sure my parents could never hurt Ethan, or any child, ever again. The police station smelled like coffee and desperation. Officer Bennett reviewed my evidence folder while I fidgeted with my sleeve. These texts are damning, Miss Harris, especially combined with the doctor's report. But prosecution is complicated with family cases. I don't just want them punished by the system. I want everyone to know what they did. Just be careful. Recording someone without consent can be tricky legally. I left with a game plan and a recording app recommendation. That evening, Aunt Sarah and I strategized over wine after Ethan went to bed. The reunion's perfect. Martha always puts on her perfect grandmother act around family. I'll make sure Uncle Jim and Cousin Becky sit near us. They've always kissed Mom's ass. And I'll bring those photo albums from when you were little, the ones that show how skinny they kept you. We spent 3 weeks preparing. I called my parents once, pretending to soften. I overreacted. Ethan can be dramatic sometimes. We'll see you at the reunion. Finally coming to your senses, Mom replied. We were just trying to instill some discipline. I practiced keeping my voice steady while rage boiled inside. The day of the reunion arrived, a sunny Saturday at Uncle Jim's lake house. I dressed Ethan in his cutest outfit and activated the recording app on my phone before approaching my parents, who were holding court by the grill. Look who decided to grace us with her presence, Dad announced. We need to talk about what happened with Ethan, I said quietly. Not this again. Mom rolled her eyes. It was just 2 days. Children these days are too coddled. You said feeding him was a waste. Well, it is wasteful when kids eat more than they need. You should be thanking us for teaching him restraint. Perfect. Got it on record. I casually moved toward the center of the gathering where most relatives were mingling. Can I have everyone's attention? I have something important to share. The chatter died down. I took a deep breath. 2 weeks ago, I left Ethan with his grandparents during an emergency work shift. They deliberately withheld food from him for 2 days, calling it a waste to feed him regularly. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mom pushed forward. Stop being so dramatic. We fed him, just not your excessive portions. I played the recording, her voice clear as day. Well, it is wasteful when kids eat more than they need. You should be thanking us. You recorded us? How dare you? Dad sputtered. Ethan came home hiding food under his pillow because he was afraid of being hungry again. Aunt Sarah stepped forward with the photo albums. This isn't new behavior. Look at Dyla as a child. Underweight, always on a diet. Martha and Gerald have been doing this for decades. Cousin Melissa suddenly spoke up. They did it to me too, when I stayed with them that summer. Aunt Martha locked the fridge and said I needed to earn my meals. That's ridiculous, Mom screeched. You were an obese child. I was 11. More relatives started murmuring, sharing stories. Uncle Jim, always my parents' defender, looked uncomfortable. Martha, did you really deny food to the kids? They're all exaggerating. Children need discipline. Discipline? I said. Ethan lost weight in 2 days. The doctor documented it as neglect. Dad pointed his finger at me. This is the last straw, Dila. You want to humiliate us? Fine. You're no daughter of mine. Don't expect another penny from us. Not for college funds, not for anything. I never wanted your money. I wanted my son to be safe with his grandparents. You ungrateful little... Mom started. But Aunt Sarah cut her off. Enough, Martha. Everyone sees you clearly now. As family members backed away from my parents, their perfect facade crumbled completely. The reunion disintegrated into chaos after my revelation. Mom and Dad stormed out, but not before Mom hissed, "You'll regret this public spectacle." 2 days later, I sat across from Officer Bennett with my evidence folder, now containing the family reunion recording. We have enough for a formal child neglect investigation. Child Protective Services will need to interview Ethan. Will he have to see them again? Not if you request a protection order, which I strongly recommend. The CPS interview was gentler than I expected. The specialist used puppets to help Ethan explain what happened. And Grandma said, what about food? That I was expensive to feed, and that food goes through me, so it's a waste. Each word strengthened the case. 3 weeks later, we faced my parents in family court. They'd hired some hotshot lawyer, but their smug expressions faded when the judge reviewed the evidence. The court finds clear evidence of child neglect. Martha and Gerald Harris are hereby prohibited from unsupervised contact with minor Ethan Harris. Additionally, you'll complete mandatory parenting classes and pay a $5,000 fine. Mom gasped. This is absurd. One incident blown out of proportion. Multiple incidents, the judge corrected. The court has testimony from other family members describing a pattern of food restriction toward children in your care. Outside the courthouse, Dad approached me. This has gone too far, Dila. We're your parents. We made mistakes, but this public humiliation is unforgivable. Unforgivable? Like starving my son and calling him a waste? We're sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? We're sorry. Your apology means nothing. Too little, too late. As weeks passed, the consequences snowballed. Uncle Jim called to tell me my parents were disinvited from Thanksgiving. The church committee Mom chaired asked her to step down. Their country club friends stopped including them in social events. Mom left tearful voicemails. Please, Dila, everyone's turned against us. Your father's business partners are backing out. We said we're sorry. I deleted every message. Meanwhile, Ethan flourished. The food hoarding stopped after a month. The nightmares faded. Aunt Sarah moved closer to us, becoming the grandmother figure Ethan deserved. Look at my rocket ship, Auntie Sarah. Ethan proudly displayed his Lego creation. That's amazing, buddy. You're so creative. Can we have pizza for dinner? Of course we can. The simple joy on his face at being told yes to food still made my throat tight. 6 months after the court case, I ran into my parents' neighbor, Mrs. Chen, at the grocery store. Your parents are selling their house. Nobody visits anymore. Martha tries to maintain appearances, but they're essentially outcasts now. I felt nothing but satisfaction. At Ethan's 7th birthday party, surrounded by supportive family and friends, Cousin Melissa pulled me aside. You did what none of us had the courage to do. You broke the cycle. I just protected my son. And yourself. Finally. That night, after tucking Ethan in with his new toys and a belly full of cake, I realized the weight I'd carried my whole life had lifted. The constant need for my parents' approval. The lingering hunger, both physical and emotional, that never seemed satisfied. My phone buzzed with a text from Dad. Your mother's birthday is tomorrow. She's hoping to see Ethan. We've changed. I blocked the number without replying. Some bridges stay burned, and that's not just okay. Sometimes it's necessary. Ethan would grow up knowing his worth wasn't measured by his appetite or anyone's approval. The cycle of abuse ended with me. What would you do? Is it ever justified to completely cut toxic family members out of your life? Even parents? Or should blood ties always get a second chance? Dyla chose to protect herself and Ethan by rejecting all apologies. But would you have done the same? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more compelling stories about standing up to toxic behavior. New videos every day.